Hi, I'm Pete Jones, Peter Jones Realty. I wanted to get a perspective for first-time home buyers who are buying their first home, getting in the market. It's a big commitment, and the inspection process is something they've never done. And so I thought I'd reach out to my buddy here, Matt Gibson, with Forever Home Inspections of Iowa, who's an expert in the space. He does it for a living. And I don't know, Matt, if I'm a first-time home buyer, what are the things I need to look at, or what do I need to consider that I haven't done before, having never bought a home?
Sure. Yeah, it's a big decision, obviously. Home is going to be probably the biggest purchase of your life. I think the first thing you have to determine is what are you willing to do for repairs? If you're in a certain price range, is that price range going to get you what you want as far as a home that doesn't need repairs or a home that's going to have some repairs that are necessary? And understand that if you buy a home that has repairs that are needed, you need to understand what those repairs are and what they're actually going to cost. And a big part of that, really, for first-time home buyers is getting a good understanding of the home components itself, the roof system, the structure, the foundation, the HVAC system, the plumbing. All of these different components come together to create the home. A lot of first-time home buyers don't understand some of these more basic components. So during the home inspection process, one of the big things I like to do is, at the end of it, is walk through that whole process with them and walk through all of the different things that I find, so that they not only see the defects on a sheet of paper, but they actually understand those defects better.
One of the things that we were talking about the first time we got together was having a conversation or seeing the information on a report.
Yeah.
You mentioned it's a lot better, especially for a first-time home buyer,
Mm-hmm.
to not just see all the information about the home on a report in detail, but to go through it and talk through it and have you walk through the home with them.
Yeah.
That's correct. Like
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
Absolutely. I think we don't do it every time. Some buyers feel comfortable with not coming, and that's perfectly fine too. It's entirely up to the buyer. But when you are a first-time home buyer, I do think it's a really good idea to be at the inspection, not necessarily for the whole thing, but towards the end, because I might be able to call out a crack in a foundation, but if it's a poured concrete foundation, you're going to have cracks. They're going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So just saying, hey, there's a crack in the foundation, as opposed to, all right, this is the crack, here it is, this is the type of crack it is, and this is why it's normal, or this is why it's abnormal, is really, I would think, help that home buyer make a more informed decision.
Yeah, that's the analogy you brought up before when we were meeting. Like,
Yeah.
if I saw a crack in the foundation on a piece of paper, it would throw me into a panic. But the way
Right.
you explain it would certainly be a different perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Are there certain things that you come across that are like most common on a first-time home buyer sized home? The first-time home buyer would need to be cognizant of ahead of time.
Yeah, I would say it's pigeonholing a little bit, but
Yeah.
most first-time home buyers are at that lower price range,
Mm-hmm.
and younger folks that just don't have that career that's built them up to the
Mm-hmm.
point where they can buy the big expensive house yet.
For sure.
So if we're looking at it, which is typically going to be an older, smaller home, one of the biggest things that I run into most frequently is probably electrical. It's going to be an older panel. It's going to be the older wiring that may not be grounded. And so there again, walking through that with them so they can understand what that means. Because yeah, I can tell somebody you have ungrounded outlets, and they go, yeah, okay, cool, what's that? And explaining why that's a problem and then the different fixes for that can really help them determine whether or not that's something that they're comfortable with, because they might not be comfortable with electrical upgrades. Those can get fairly expensive pretty quick.
Yeah, and can be a big ball of wax for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, Matt. So if I'm a first-time home buyer and I have a question on the information you just went over today, how would I get hold of you?
There's a couple different ways you can get a hold of us. Our website, foreverhomeinspectioniowa.com, or our Facebook page, Forever Home Inspection Iowa. We can certainly communicate via email, phone number, Facebook message, whatever. My admin can patch you through to me, and I can talk to you guys directly. I do that pretty regularly.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah,
very much for your
thank you.
time. And for any first-time home buyer out there, both Matt and I are willing to be your guys as far as getting you in a house and doing the inspections.
Absolutely.